everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Critical Podcast. My name is Jimmy Good, and I'm but one of your hosts. And joining me, as always, is our go-to podcast compadre, Mr. Joe Lever. Joe, I screwed up your intro, and I apologize. How are you doing, pal?
I'm doing aight, Jimmy. I'm doing aight.
Why are you squinting?
I don't know, like I'm some old Italian mobster. Let's go eat some spaghetti.
All right, after that, we'll go down to the docks. All right, we're gonna talk about things.
Here's what we're gonna do. See, we're gonna do this. See,
he's got a big cigar in his mouth.
Yeah,
this is great. People are just wondering. They're like, so is this just like a improv podcast? Well, actually, no.
What about old Vinny?
It's actually not an improv podcast. We talk about games and movies and TV shows. Talk about a bunch of things. And believe it or not, once again, Joe, we are on the cutting edge. We've got some breaking news. Are you ready for the craziness?
You heard it here first, people.
Yeah, that's right. Because when people see this, it definitely won't be like 2 days old. Anyway, so I just heard about this, and I didn't know if I would believe it, but apparently this is a Deadline exclusive here, so, take that as it were. But apparently Warner Brothers and DC, they're in the early stages of another Batman universe spin-off. So they're going to try to do a Joker origin story set in the 1980s, which is separate from the DCEU we know now. So Jared Leto will reprise his role as the Joker in the Suicide Squad and then in Gotham City Sirens. But at the same time, they're going to do a new franchise with a new Joker. Potentially simultaneously.
Whose idea in that is that, and why isn't the DCEU putting their foot down and saying, what the fuck?
I don't know. It sounds like this might be potentially a response, Joe, to the big rumors that Ben Affleck doesn't want to be Batman anymore. So this way they could do a Batman universe still, but not have to worry about Ben Affleck as Batman in it, so they could just start fresh with something else. So that way if someone says, I want to see Batman, you're like, well, you could watch this weird universe that's like gritty or whatever, or you can the DCU that doesn't have Batman. I don't know, but I want to get your thoughts on it, Joe. How do you feel about that? Are you excited for Jared Leto for sure to be back on those things, but not to be this, like, there might be like another Joker at the same time? It's like a Quicksilver situation all over again, It's like X-Men had him and Avengers had him. Like,
when did Fox get involved with this shit?
Oh, Fox didn't get no. It's just they called him up and they're like,
I know, but
late night Warner Brothers. They're like, so Fox, what would I do? And they're like, all you got to do is you just make one. Regardless, you make two of them, right? It's all right. You make two. It's totally fine. No one's gonna know. No one's gonna care. No.
What about Fox? Hey, what about the timeline? What about the timeline?
Timelines? Who cares about timelines? We reboot pretty much every movie. The only ones that matter are the ones that you just saw last year. So I mean, really, just who cares? People are stupid. That's Fox, by the way.
Yeah. But okay, so you're saying jump all over the place and really confuse the hell out of people.
Yeah, definitely. And do your best to try to mix old and new casts as much as possible and make sure that there's lots of plot holes, tons of plot holes.
All right. I think we can manage.
All right. Well, you know what? Yep. Good night. Love you.
The Joker thinks I love him.
That's pretty funny though. Yeah, but I don't know. It seems kind of strange to me, Joe. But do you like this play? Do you think it's interesting? Do you want to see a standalone Joker origin film?
No, it's stupid. If they thought Ben Affleck had any second thoughts about continuing on throughout, first of all, the response to, Ben might not want to do it for any more films, yada, yada. He was a bad choice for the character. If that is the case, I mean, the guy's got so many personal issues, family issues, and then he's got a huge commitment with these giant blockbuster movies. They brought the wrong guy on board. They should have brought somebody on board who's young and fresh and maybe a slightly less recognizable actor and done it up that way. That way you don't have these issues. You have somebody that's going to be more committed to the role, etc. If he leaves the DCEU, Batman will never come back.
Yeah, that's the problem, and that's the thing. It's like, even if you have Nightwing in there or Batgirl or anything like that, it still will feel strange, and it's hard to think how you'll set up movies with them without having him be there. Will just be like a shadowy figure while they're training, and like you can't see him, and it'll just be like, and he trained us night and day. It'll be like, okay, like like it'd be odd. And it sounds like they might be trying to cast this new Joker a little bit younger as well. And I wouldn't be surprised to see them. I don't know. They might go for the PG-13, but they might go for like an R rating. I just don't know. It feels very strange to me. It seems like it's a gut reaction. It could be interesting. I don't want to completely write it off, but I've never heard of anything like this. It's like if Robert Downey Jr. would have left Marvel early on, and they're like, well, we're gonna do like a new Iron Man type of thing, and he's gonna be like in a different universe at the same time as the MCU. Right? Yeah, it seems from like a marketing standpoint, people are gonna be like, because if you confuse people, that's the quickest way to turn them off to anything. If they don't understand what they're seeing, they're like, do I have to see this Joker movie to see the next like Justice League movie? It's like, no. Like,
yeah, I don't think that will necessarily be the problem. Personally, I think that this separate film or franchise or series, what do you want to call it?
It's like a new universe, like spin-off universe, which is like...
I think it'll tank. I think it'll absolutely tank. They'll plop it in the water, and it'll be like a ship with a hole right in the middle of the hull, right to the bottom.
I think you make a good point, but I feel like what they're thinking right now is they are on this ship, which is like the DCU, but they're ripping up planks of it and trying to build like a life raft and throw it in the water, and they're going to try to jump off that ship when it sinks onto the life raft. They're like, oh, we're safe. You know what I mean? As that one just goes. So it's like, I feel like both of these things are kind of like, it's just dicey. It's just really strange. And I really don't know what they're thinking. I really do feel like it's the Batman stuff, though. Like, I don't know why.
Yeah, well, here's the thing is the Joker as a character is good. The movie he was in kind of sucked.
Exactly.
Wonder Woman was great and was a good stepping stone / very successful foundation to keep building these movies on. Man of Steel was not bad. It was pretty good. Batman vs. Superman was overdone, and they took the wrong steps throughout that movie. So that one kind of, you're on a straight line with Man of Steel. Wonder Woman's up here, but in between you kind of jogged over to a kind of shittier one and came back again. Take what you learned in Wonder Woman and go and apply it to Justice League. Freaking release this Justice League movie. Pay Ben Affleck some more freaking money. I don't care what you got to do. Keep him on board and keep this train freaking chugging down the track. Yeah. You know what I mean? After Wonder Woman, I think there's a much more. I think it bolstered people's attitudes towards the DCEU, and I think it'll only help them. So if they just keep that train chugging down the track, don't freaking veer off and do this stupid shit. And I'm sorry, I'm passionate about it because, they kind of veered off for a second with Batman vs. Superman. Not a horrible movie, but not a great one either. It was just slightly off. The visuals and everything were great. They, wasn't necessarily stellar. Obviously, everybody had their qualms with what's his face, Weasley face guy who played Lex Luthor Jr.
Jesse Eisenberg.
No, I just wanted to make you say it after I said Weasley face guy.
I wish I didn't know the name. I wish I did.
We all know that. Yeah, the Weasley face guy. Yep, that's him. Anywho. I feel like people don't have too many qualms with Lois Lane, but I kind of do. I'm not a big fan of her as Lois Lane. We can all agree that Superman is perfectly cast, I think.
Yeah, he's just really sad, which I wish he wasn't so sad all the time. Like, Batman vs. Superman is like him just frowning and flying away. He's like, I'm sorry, Lois. It's like,
they almost try to insert too much drama into it, whereas Marvel's a little different. There's drama, but there's also lightheartedness mixed in there, so it's kind of a very even spread, if you will. But yeah, when it comes to they took a little bit of a step backwards. They took a half a step backwards with Batman vs. Superman. They took a giant leap forward with Wonder Woman. And if they can, use that platform to take another leap off of it and hit Justice League home properly, which with the addition of Joss Whedon, I think I know they're doing reshoots and stuff. I'm hoping that they put the puzzle pieces together well and really make this thing what it should be.
Yeah, well,
and I think they can.
I think the thing you kind of were talking about there is like we kind of get in a mixed bag with DC right now, and it's scary to think that they're going to try to like, they haven't really learned a lot to like fix their own universe, so why spin off and do another one?
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I think
you don't have it perfected, so don't try and do something new.
Exactly. Like if Disney and like Marvel tried this, I would say, well, so far there hasn't really been something that you've made that's been really, really horrible. So I guess if you want to try it, I've liked everything up until this point. But I wonder also how like Jared Leto feels. Like he had a really rough go with the whole Suicide Squad thing. But then like say like, hey, you're coming back for these, and then they're like, oh, but also there's going to be another Joker, but it's not going to be in the same universe as you. It's going to be different. Like that, I think that would be so weird as like a big main character.
Stupid. Like, what are you trying to do?
Yeah, it just seems like you're trying to piss like a lot of people off. I don't know. It just seems like a bad
oh, I got to keep track of the DCU, but oh wait, there's the DCIU over here. I want to keep up on that one too. It's not going to happen. You're either committed to one or the other. One of them's going to tank.
Yeah,
it's going to be the new one that they're trying to start fresh with.
Maybe. Well, and that's the thing too, is it sounds like they're kind of trying to go like kind of more gritty crime with it, which is maybe fine for like Gotham if they want to just do like a strictly Gotham universe. But we've seen like that's what they've kind of done with the DCU is try to kind of start off with a base kind of like Batman Begins and then like the Dark Knight and stuff, and try to use that kind of template for Man of Steel. It's not really working, and they're changing it up. But I just don't know if this is the right move. It just seems dangerous, seems weird, but who knows? Maybe we'll end up loving that, Joe, and we'll be like, this is so much better than the old DCU. This is so much better. So, yeah, I saw this interesting news, and it was just reported recently, which is pretty dang cool. Yeah. So, Joni, any final thoughts? Jimmy? Is it real? Is anything real? No, it is real. I think it's real. I hope it's real. Some other big news that came out kind of this week, basically, more or less, they've confirmed that they are going to be making, or Star Wars, Disney, everybody's going to be making an Obi-Wan Kenobi standalone film, which has been rumored for a long time. It doesn't sound like they have officially confirmed that Ewan McGregor is going to be there or that a script is in place. But truly, I think if they're talking about it, both of those things are there. They wouldn't really jump the gun with this. Disney's not usually the type to kind of throw out information, especially about Star Wars, if they don't really have a passion and really know where the project is going to go. Hopefully. I know Han Solo's been kind of up in the air recently, but yeah, I'm really excited about it. I know you're not into Star Wars as much, Joe, but for me, this is really cool. Ewan McGregor's performance was my probably favorite part of the prequel trilogy. I loved his take on Obi-Wan. I especially love him in Revenge of the Sith. He's just like the pure just Jedi, just kind of like defensive stance, and he can take on the world because he's got the Force at his back, and he has got no attachments really. He just kind of has Anakin as his brother, but he's kind of, besides that, he's just like a solo operator. He's not he's just kind of his own guy, and yeah, I'm just really excited about it. I think he deserves a shot at this. I think there's a good chance this will be a lot like the film Logan, kind of like a Western, maybe not the most fun movie. I hope I'm wrong about that. I'd like it to be fun, and I hope there's some action to it, because as much fun as watching Obi-Wan sit alone in a hut for 20 years would be as a film, I hope there's a little more to it than that. But I'm still excited, because out of all these kind of standalones they've announced about like a singular character, that's the only one I've been like really chomping at the bit for. They've kind of said something about doing like some bounty hunter movie or maybe a Yoda movie, but this one to me, I'm like, yeah, especially if Ewan wants to do it. Like he's kind of the reason that you do this right now. You wouldn't probably cast some new person. But yeah, I just want to know, Joe, do you have any interest in this standalone film compared to the episodes of Star Wars?
Well, if it's Western style, maybe.
Sure.
That's the only thing that caught my attention there. I don't even know who this guy is, to be honest.
That's okay. That's a good thing. Well, I mean Western style, not like six shooters and all that, but it would be more of like a slow pace, kind of more of like, more maybe melancholy, potentially. They haven't really confirmed any of that, but that's just like the thought. It's on a desert planet, so it would lend itself to that. But very influential character in Star Wars. And yeah, one day you'll know more about him, Joe, and you'll be like, yeah, Ewan McGregor.
Well, and to be honest, never mind.
Nope, you got to be honest, Joe. Hit me with the honesty. I can't not take it.
Yeah, I'm just not a big Star Wars guy. I've said it before.
And you'll say it again.
By chance, I got roped into going to see what was the last one? Rogue One.
Yeah, you got Or was that? Yeah, you saw Rogue One. Yeah, with Darth Vader and all that.
I mean, it's all right. It's all right. I'm not. It's kind of like Guardians of the Galaxy. For some reason, those movies don't necessarily like rip me out of my chair and put me in the truck and get me to the movie theater. You know what I mean? I don't know if it's a space thing with me or what. Yeah. Then again, I love movies like Alien. You know, so that can't be said. So I don't know.
Maybe it's a combination. Maybe that's the thing, is you don't like it because there's not a horror aspect to it in space, and you like that tilt or kind of hook. Maybe that's the problem.
Maybe.
I don't know. I want to get to the bottom of this. I really do one of these days. I want you to be like, this is like, we'll work our way all the way back to like a Star Wars moment, and it'll just be like some jerk back in like your elementary school who's wearing like a Star Wars shirt and he was really mean to you, and you're like, I hate him and I hate Star Wars. Like your friend next to you is like, Joe, don't say such things. You'd be like, I said it and I meant it. It's like you just forgot about this really crucial moment. But yeah, I want to bring it up just briefly. We don't need to talk about it anymore. But hopefully we'll get to know some more details, and eventually, a trailer will come out. That'd be a weird one to do a trailer master on, Joe, because you don't really know a lot of Star Wars. But that'd be the one where you win all the points. Like you just pick them all up. That'd be kind of impressive, actually. All right, Joe, we got some more news. We got some news out of Gamescom, this big convention that's happening over in Germany, and I want to touch on a few things. They announced a new hero for Heroes of the Storm, Kel'Thuzad, which is like this cool, like icy skeleton guy. He's a guy I've been waiting for a long time, and it's really cool to see him come into the fold. And I was like, yeah, that's so sweet. New Overwatch.
Icy skeleton guy. What was the game again?
Heroes of the Storm. I thought I'd get you maybe with Icy Skeleton guy. Yeah, he was a mage and he died, and then he came back as this icy skeleton horrible thing that can like make ice and death and decay and throw chains out at people. And he's a very, for lack of a better term, cool guy. And I've just been waiting to play him for a long time. He's one of those characters they tease like very beginning of this game, and they've just been working on him for a long period of time.
Sounds like an Overwatch character that we need, like a Mei Roadhog combination. Throws chains and freezes things.
Yeah, definitely.
He's a skeleton, and when he dies, he just falls into a pile of bones.
Yeah, actually, one of his talents allows him, like, he picks up like these little health globes, like you can do like during like when you're in a lane killing little minions, you can pick up little health globes to heal yourself. If you have 10 of those, you can instantly respawn later on if you want to. So he can come back pretty quickly depending on what you get, but that you got to do that every time, which is kind of interesting. But yeah, I just want to mention that. It's very cool. I'm excited. New payload map for Overwatch, Junkertown, where good old Roadhog and Junkrat are from. There's a brief little movie about that where they're trying to. Their goal is they got kicked out of Junkertown, and they're like, how are we going to get back in there? And so they go on a worldwide, kind of bank robbing spree, as we've seen them do in the past. And they come back with a ton of gold, which is the payload. And Junkrat's trying to hatch this plan about how to get into the king of Junkertown and to kind of get his revenge on everybody. And so he's kind of going through the plan, and Roadhog keeps like he's like, he'll light a match and Roadhog will put the match out. He'll light a fuse and Roadhog will, and then he's like, okay, he's like, you're right, we have to rethink this. So basically his plan is like, we'll put on disguises, we'll push the payload in there, we'll jump out and they'll be like, who are you? And they'll rip off their masks and be like, it's me, Junkrat, and then they'll blow everything up and take the gold out. But right before they're about to get inside with their disguises, which it's like the shark skin one for Roadhog, and then of course the cool Scarecrow one for Junkrat. They're wearing these disguises, and like a little hatch opens up. It's like, who are you? And then like Junkrat rips his mask off. It's like, it's me, Junkrat. And they like shut the other gate. They're shutting all these gates, just locking it all down. It's just like, and like Roadhog's just like, idiot. Like, why did you? It's like, why? So yeah, this cool new payload map. We've been kind of waiting for like a new payload map for a while. I think the last one might have been is it Eichenwald, which I think they premiered last Gamescom, believe it or not, because it was Germany. So I think Germany's a really big, or Gamescom, Joe. Blizzard likes to go all out there. They've got a really strong presence there. And that's really cool because we get a lot of updates on stuff like this. So would I have liked to have seen a tease of a new character? Of course, but they just dropped Doomfist. It's going to be a while. But yeah, I think it's kind of a cool, interesting idea for a payload. Yeah, tons of gold.
Yeah, I played a little bit of Overwatch on my own this past weekend for like barely an hour, but I was playing the I think it's Mayhem mode on the arcade,
Oh, sure.
where everybody has like double health and your cooldowns are half of what they normally are. And I gotta admit, that is my favorite way to play. I think the Mayhem mode is just a blast. It is. It is a lot of fun, and you have to work harder for it too. And you don't die as often, which of course makes it a little more fun. And I think cooler things happen because of that.
Sure.
You know, and you're getting your ult more often, so you're doing like insane stuff, and it is just a downright mosh pit, and it can be a good time, really. So, yeah, a new payload map. Consider me interested.
Just like I'm all in on the payload. Payload maps are the most fun, I think, because they're so dynamic. It's always changing. If you can kind of move it around, it's like stagnant. Like, you know,
Exactly. The map isn't the same every time you respawn.
Yeah, well, I get so sick of the point holds. Like, not A and then B, like the assault. It's like hold this like best of 3 or best of 5. It's like, all right, hold this point.
Those are the ones I don't like either. Yeah.
It's like whatever. But yeah, that's pretty cool. Some more news coming out of Gamescom from Xbox show. Jurassic World Evolution, a park simulator type game where it's like you build your own Jurassic World on Xbox, I guess. The funny thing was I was looking at the little trailer for it, and it just shows stuff going horrible. Whoa, did you like throw a coin? You're like, I will get this game.
I was taking my ring off.
Dude.
Sorry for the interruption, everybody.
No, it's fine. I just usually when you put that ring on, you go invisible, so I get scared when you do that.
This is my Green Lantern ring, only it's the gold lantern.
I don't know if gold was it's probably a color. It's probably like a really strong color. You know what I mean? It's dude, I like that. The green sidebar. I hope Green Lantern Corps is really good. I think Green Lantern's a really cool character, and I always, in my mind, I put him and like Ghost Rider from Marvel like in this weird camp together, where it's like this is a character I can't like right away draw like a direct comparison to on the other side. I'm like, they're both really cool and they both deserve more, and they both have had a lot of issues with their past movies, and I'm like, please be good. Anyway,
in later news, DCU casts Ryan Reynolds is Green Lantern again.
He's back, baby.
And in later news, MCU cast Nick Cage as Ghost Rider for the next MCU film.
We love it. Ouch. I'm going to get to Ghost Rider in just a second, but Jurassic World Evolution. Joe, are you interested in playing a park simulator game? I just saw this. You know, we both love Jurassic Park. We're not as hot on Jurassic World, but would you be interested in managing correctly a park? Like you being a smart person, saying like, hey, if we can't find a dinosaur, let's not send in our workers and leave the gate open. Like, you know, you'd be like,
but I'll be honest, it's probably something I'd rather play on my computer just for the, what do you want to say, the detailed things that you'd probably have to do. I'd rather use that than a controller. Type in this text. Oh, great.
Well,
you know,
thankfully, a lot of games don't really do a lot of typing of text anymore, and they've been getting better about mapping like keyboard stuff to a controller. Like Diablo 3 is a really good example. I don't know how Blizzard's done that, but it might be weird, but it might work. It might work on console. But I just thought it was kind of interesting. Once you get the park up and running, probably not as hard.
I saw the ad for it. It happened to pop up on my Facebook because Jurassic World, the movie, obviously shared it. Excuse me. And it did. It looked kind of cool. It looked interesting. I mean, they already have a cellular game, you know, where you can kind of build your own park. What is it, Jurassic Park Creator or something?
Yeah, my sister actually like straight up beat like every part of that game, and I mean like maxed out everything and got every dinosaur on every like the Arctic map too, and like the underwater one. She's like, I completely beat it, and I walked away. I was like, oh my god! Like,
oh wow!
Parts were nuts. I like look at mine. I'm like, yeah, I don't have the patience for this.
Yeah, I don't have the patience for it either. I worry about that with this game. You know. The thing is, it's going to be like a bunch of work, and you're going to be like, oh, my park looks awesome. And you just kind of look at it.
Sure. Well, maybe it'll be kind of like Roller Coaster Tycoon, where maybe you can build things that are kind of interesting, and hopefully they won't have any of the whole like, oh, you can pay to like speed up this process, like the mobile games usually do. It's not like if you build a Raptor pen, it'll be like, well, if you pay $5, it'll be done right now. It's like, no, just build the friggin' thing. Like, come on, I paid money for this. So I don't know what the price point is on this game, but I'm interested to see what it's going to be. I think it comes out next summer sometime. So who knows? Okay. We might be into it. We might be sharing stuff. We might be competing parks or whatever. I don't know. Probably not, but
yeah, I wonder if there's any social aspect to that game.
There's got to be. Like every game's getting social aspect. You look at even some of these single player games where it's like, oh, check the leaderboards, like see how well you've done compared to your friends. It's like, okay, they got it.
Or like, hey, buddy, come visit my park and help me do this or
build something. Yeah,
maybe
totally.
There's like maybe you build the park and then like a dinosaur gets out, like the little trailer shows a T-Rex getting loose and ripping through a pen and stuff and eating a guy. Well, maybe there's a thing like there's an actual like interactive part to that where you have to go and hunt down the Rex and trank it or something like that. Like there's interactive parts within. That would be neat.
That'd be sweet. I doubt it, but I would love that. Would think of like a third-person shooter like moments where you'd have to do that. Then you have to go hunt down velociraptors. Oh, you could do the clever girl moment. It'd be so funny.
Dude, in multiplayer too would be epic. Jimmy, I just had a dinosaur break out of my park. I need help.
I'd be like, I'm too busy. I did not pay my tech guy enough, and he shut down all the electricity, and there's a big storm rolling in, and it's not looking good.
All right, I'm just gonna euthanize mine. I'll be over in a second.
Exactly. Like, oh, should we spend money like for the for that or like the super shock collars? Be like, yeah, probably all that.
All that.
I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I'm interested. It's weird to have like Xbox be like, we've announced this. It's like, okay.
It is cool. I mean, it's going to be on PlayStation, Xbox, and PC. So it sounds like there's quite an investment in it. I'm curious. I want to see more. I want to know what else is featured besides you building a park and you just get to look at the dinosaurs you put in the pens, you know?
Yeah, totally. And I think one thing that we need to consider...
little pens. I hope it's not like little squares where the dinosaur's just sitting in the center of a little square.
Yeah, hopefully you can build them out and like make the fences go where you want to. But I wonder if they're doing this, Joe, to obviously kind of coincide with the release of the next film. And will that film be about park management? I think it sounded like it isn't. So maybe this is trying to offset the people who might say like, oh man, like the new Jurassic World movie wasn't anything about like a theme park. It's like, well, if you want to build a theme park, it's like you could purchase this game, you know? So it's like trying to offset and kind of assuage people before they get angry. I don't know.
Okay, so since we're on Jurassic World, let me throw this at you. What's the next movie called again?
Fallen Kingdom.
Yeah. Jeff Goldblum's back, right?
Yes, I believe so, which, you know, that guy, I wonder how much money they had to, like, back up to his house. Like, did they do the same for Sam Neill? Because I want Sam Neill so badly to be in there, but Alan Grant would be like, I am definitely not. Check it out. I went back. I didn't know I was going there, like, for sure. We weren't going to land. Poor.
I'm over it. I hate dinosaurs now. I hate them. I don't even go to museums anymore.
He's just like got a few extra raptor claws like in his coat, so if somebody comes up like, "Hey, don't you know about the dinosaurs?" Like, back off!
Slice, slice! Get away from me! Did you say dinosaur?
I love it if he was really disheveled. His hair was always tousled. He was always kind of like walking aring like kind of shaking. People are like, "Hey, isn't it Alan Grant?" And he's like, "Stay away!" I'd watch that movie.
There's a bird caw on a lamppost. He's like,
"He's like Pteranodons. It's always Pteranodons." But anyway, yeah. But yeah, I think Jeff Goldblum is back.
So here's what this movie is going to be about. It's going to be from the perspective of a group of lawyers. Every scene will be between a boardroom and an apartment. It'll be Jeff Goldblum, the defense lawyer for Jurassic World, sitting in the courtroom, fighting the case for Jurassic World against all the lawsuits that are coming in. And every night he goes home and pours a glass of scotch in his apartment, dimly lit apartment, and wallows in his own sorrows in a lazy boy chair.
I think he would. First off, he's a mathematician. Second off, I think he'd probably be a prosecutor, if anything.
Oh yeah, he wasn't the lawyer. Dang it.
No, the lawyer's dead. But I would love it if you. That'd be great if he was the prosecutor. And he's like, I'm just trying to get him to shut this stuff down. He's like, the last time I saw this kind of stuff, we had T-Rexes like running around San Diego. He's like, it was a big kerfuffle.
Yeah, probably not the best idea for that movie. Let's bring it to San Diego.
Yeah, that third act, man. Don't even get me started. But Jeff Goldblum is not opposed to kind of coming back to these roles. Like he came back for Independence Day Resurgence, and it's one of those things where as like a lot of these actors we're starting to see like can kind of backpedal 20 years to some of these bigger franchises they were in and just say like, hey, I'm back. I'm still here. I'm back. I'm in the world. So yeah, I wonder how he'll interact with Chris Pratt and Bryce Dallas Howard stuff. Like, well, one day will the Grandmaster meet up with Star-Lord in the MCU, and outside of Jurassic World, who knows? But yeah, I don't know. Fallen Kingdom sounds like another one of those. It sounds like Lost World or Jurassic Park 3 to me, where they're going to go to like a disheveled, like rundown facility. That's what I feel like is going to happen. But who knows? As long as we don't get stupid dinosaur human crossbreeds, please don't do that. Please, I beg you. Don't.
What? How can that even be an idea?
Well, they had concept art for it a long time ago, and it just looked really strange. And I thought, please don't do this to me. Yeah,
stupid.
Hurts my heart.
Stupid.
Hurts my heart.
Don't take it that far.
Well, Joe, we mentioned Ghost Rider earlier. He has been confirmed along with a slew of other characters for Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, which is really cool. It's nice to see him back, and I was really happy because we always talk about this. It's just like, why don't you just take like basically your old roster of characters and just say that is the base roster for the next installment of this franchise, and then add on to it, or take a few out that you were looking at like the stats online. So like, well, nobody's playing with this character, so we'll probably not have them. We'll just do like a skin for another character that looks like them or something like that. But I like seeing Ghost Rider there. Dormammu, one of the big bads, which he thankfully has retained his actual like comic look. They didn't like change him into the MCU like big like rippling face. So it's nice. See, Marvel vs. Capcom shows that you can have two flaming head individuals in a game, and you can do that in the Marvel Cinematic Universe too. I'm just trying to tell you guys, like, you do Ghost Rider, you can do Dormammu, they both get flaming. Anyway, but they've it was like Firebrand, Jeddah, which is some Capcom person I'm not familiar with, and Hawkeye I think is back. Was he announced before? I don't know, but those are the ones that I heard about. But yeah, Joe, Ghost Rider, hype? You get hyped? Ghost Rider? Huh? Ghost Rider?
Why would I be hyped about Ghost Rider?
Well, just because he's in this game, and you add Ghost Rider to anything, and that's a good thing. And, Joe, because this MCU kind of feel to this game, like a lot of the characters are getting looks a little bit more like their Marvel Cinematic Universe counterparts. You never know. Sure. It could be a nod towards him being in the movies one day.
Sure, but yeah, in the movies it'd be great. I'm not buying the game. That's buying... I got maybe 2 weekends or 4 full days worth of gameplay out of DC
Injustice 2.
Yeah.
Oh man, I had a lot of fun with that game. We could still play that sometime. I don't know. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I mean, I had a little bit of fun with it, but I feared for this. I feared that it would kind of fall off for me. And recently, I've been getting into For Honor, and I've been loving it. Just loving it, and that's kind of similar. Like you got to kind of memorize moves and stuff, but it's more free. You're taking points and that sort of thing, and the combat is really cool. Whereas the whole scroll screen deal, I mean, yeah, it goes 3D once in a while and all that, but after a while, I get kind of on it, and I'm doing the same thing over and over. Yeah, I pick a new character, but I don't know. It's all right. Perhaps I just got to give it another try to get back into it. We'll see.
I'll play it anytime with you, man. I really will. I like that game a lot. It's very good. But yeah, last thing I want to mention here before we... Oh, yeah, some more news. You saw a little bit of this, but they showed off some new gameplay from Assassin's Creed Origins Memphis, which to me, for a long time, Joe, I was like, what do you mean? Tennessee's going to be in this game? Because I'm an ignorant American. Didn't realize that Memphis was the name of a town back in ancient Egypt. It makes him sneeze. He's allergic to ignorance, which is a good thing. But I'm looking at this game, Joe, and the combat's a bit different than we've seen in other Assassin's Creed games. They've changed it a lot. Apparently, the old system was you kind of meet up with like one other bad guy and you kind of go through an animation. But now you can swing your sword freely. If you are too far away, you'll miss. If you're if you're close enough, you might hit a shield. You might hit them, obviously. So it's a little more third person action based as opposed to just like waiting to counter or to kind of just like move in and kill people, which I like. I think that's cool. And it's retaining a lot of the things that Assassin's Creed has, legacy style. You're still going to be, climbing and looking around different places. But now the UAV basically from Ghost Recon is in this game in the form of an eagle. So you're like, you're like, all right, buddy, go up there and, show me what's going on. I don't know how they're connected, just magic. But even apparently they showed off, and I didn't see this before, but that the eagle can actually go down and harass a guard, which is kind of neat. So he can go down and you can like have someone who might be kind of covering an area you want to go through, like have to deal with that, and then you can dispatch them quickly. So I thought that was really cool, and it had a really, 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 really good cinematic trailer. I really liked it. It was very. I just love all the AC trailers. Usually, I think they're all really cool. They all have a cool style to them, harkening all the way back to the first one. But I'm really hopeful that this game is good. I like Egypt. This game looks gorgeous. The fighting looks a bit better. And the only thing I'm concerned about now, Joe, is the main protagonist. But for someone who's kind of played a little bit, like Shadow of War, Mordor might be the closest thing you got to it. Does Assassin's Creed in Egypt, does that make you excited, seeing a little bit of this now? Are you excited at all? Are you interested at all any more so in this game or not at all?
Well, I think we've talked about it in the past, but I'm excited for it because of it looks beautiful, and I think Egypt is just such a cool setting to put the game. It's like a perfect fit. I think it's really neat. So I've always liked everything Egyptian. I think my main interest, the fact that the setting is Egyptian. So yeah.
Joe's going to be there day one. You mark my words. Yeah, but that's all we have from Gamescom. There's a bunch of other stuff that came out of there, but those are the big things that we were kind of, at least I was the most interested in. So I would love to go one year. That'd be really cool. I've heard Gamescom has a really good energy and a lot of good folks that go out there. Obviously, too, I love a lot of Blizzard stuff. Like I said before, Blizzard has a big presence there. So it'd be fun to go and stream from Gamescom. That'd be great. A few things coming up for the Marvel TV shows, though, Joe, before we get into our Defenders talk. We got a new trailer for The Punisher. It's just about a minute long. Wasn't anything super crazy, but just kind of teasing that upcoming show. It's going to be 13 episodes long. And basically, you just kind of, you see him. He's just kind of flashing back to his kids or whatever, and he's just using a sledgehammer to beat the skull of the Punisher into some concrete, which would be very difficult to do. So I don't really understand, I don't know if it's like a John Wick thing, like he buries his guns, has to break some concrete and get them from somewhere, but we don't really see too much more.
You need to run this by me again.
Joe's like, I was half paying attention, but then you said the concrete thing, and now I'm back in.
Bashing his face into the concrete.
No, a hammer, a sledgehammer, Joe, not his face, like the Punisher skull into the concrete.
Okay, so the Punisher's getting his own series. All right.
Yeah. This has been a long time coming. I thought we would see. Him pop up somewhere in the Defenders. Spoiler alert, we don't. But I was kind of hoping for more, and I think that series is coming up either in November or next year. It's coming up pretty quickly. So, are you excited, Joe, for the Punisher?
The Punisher is a compelling character, because they cover. It's very emotional based. I guess. I don't know. The one that I liked the most was probably. This is great. I don't even remember the name. Jennifer Jones. What's her name?
Jessica Jones.
Jessica Jones. That's how compelling all these series have been for me. I mean, they were okay. They're okay. I mean, if you're bored and you want something to kill time with and watch, these are probably for you. They're pretty good. And if you're a big MCU fan. But sometimes I feel a little slow moving, and they probably feel that they can do that because there's 13 episodes in each season. But eventually I kind of lost a little bit of interest. Sure.
I get that.
Hence why I haven't really watched much of the Defenders. I know a little bit on the Defenders, but or as far as the new Defenders episodes that were released and all that, but I don't know. It kind of fell flat. So I hope the Punisher is good. If I hear good things, I'll probably check it out. But my hype meter is probably hovering at 5 degrees or so.
How many? What was that?
55 degrees.
Okay.
That's a cool 5.5 on the 1 to 10.
On my edge, I just got 5 degrees, and I was like, "Whoa, that's that's pretty freaking cold." Yeah, for me, Joe, this Punisher is a bit different than the Punisher that I kind of associate in my mind with what he should be. My favorite example is the Thomas Jane version that came out back in like 2006 or 7 or 5. Remember the John Travolta? Like, just his look and his style in that one was a lot more in line with what I kind of like as that Punisher. He wasn't like kind of like a crazy guy. Like he did crazy things, but he was always like, on point for the mission. This new Punisher, I think it was John Bernthal or whatever from The Walking Dead. He's kind of yelling a bunch. You can hear that in the trailer a lot. And I don't like, my Punisher to scream out, "Yeah, I am the Punisher," like in a courtroom that he does in Daredevil season 2. Just like, that's not my guy. And like, I also want him, like, the Punisher should be like a really imposing guy to me. Like he's kind of scrappy, like this version of Punisher. Yes, he's still ripped and all of that, but he's not like 6.5 feet tall. Like, he's going to go in and he'll choke people out with just like one hand, and he can maybe kind of lift them off the floor a little bit. Like, that's who the Punisher should be, like kind of bridging the gap between like a regular human and kind of getting into something a little bit different. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. I'm interested. I don't think it should have been 13 episodes, or I don't think it should be. My concern is that it's just going to be a lot of what we've seen before. You're right. I want them to go to different locations. I don't want them to feel like they have to be in New York or one of these cities and like gritty back alleys. It's like the Punisher can go anywhere in the world, and that would be really cool to see. So I'm hoping they do something like that, but I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. Maybe I'll love it. Who knows? But Joe, you said you love Jessica Jones, and apparently it has been kind of confirmed more or less that Kilgrave will return for season 2. Now, spoiler alerts here for Jessica Jones if you haven't seen it, but you probably should have by now. It's been a while. But Kilgrave didn't really have a happy ending on that season, but it sounds like he'll be back in one form or another, potentially kind of like just in her head. But I wanted to get your thoughts on it because I know you really enjoyed that season or that series, and you also I think you liked that villain, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I kind of liked him. I felt like he was, he had a power that allowed him to really manipulate any situation.
True. Yeah, it was very scary. We hadn't seen anything like it.
Yeah, he could always hold something over you. You may think you have upper hand, but he can always have a backup plan because you can basically tell anybody to do anything he wants and, account for things.
Yeah. Yeah. So are you excited about
it? Yeah. I can't remember what happened at the end of the Jessica Jones season with him. He didn't die?
Yeah, he did, because she's like...
They snapped his neck? How does he come back?
Like I said, it might just be in her mind. So, yeah. I don't know. Yeah. She's having PTSD. Or maybe, like, the after effects of that, like, his ability are still in her and they'll get triggered somehow. I'm not sure. I'm not really sure. But, yeah, I kind of thought I'd share that with you because I was like, oh, I think Joe kind of likes that.
Flashbacks.
Yeah. Yeah, and to be honest, we're going to talk about Defenders here in a second. I just wish that they wouldn't go off and do their own seasons anymore. I'm like, just put them all together, please. Like, I don't need you to do.
Yeah, because they're mostly entertaining when they're together. They're more compelling, and there's more draw.
Like one of my favorite things about Jessica Jones was her relationship with Luke Cage, and I thought that was a really cool thing, and that was one of the interesting things about that show. Like, I'm excited about Luke Cage because I was like, oh, like this is a cool character. And then he goes away. I'm like, oh, I want to see where he goes, and then you get that and more in Luke Cage, which, but she's a cool character too, and it's like, we'll see.
Well, that's probably why I like Jessica Jones the most is because they had that romance inserted in there, which was kind of another nice dimension added to it. But yeah, they it kind of went away and Luke did his own thing and then they bring it back. I don't know if they tease any of that in Defenders, but I don't know.
Joe, if only they did, or maybe they did, which you should definitely, if you really like that portion, Joe, of Jessica Jones season 1, then you would probably like, there's some stuff in here for you that you'd love in Defenders, or like, oh, they're talking to each other and there's a lot of interplay between all of them. But let's get into Defenders. I got the spoiler switch here, Joe, and I'm going to flip it. I'm just gonna just briefly talk about the show without spoiling it. So if you haven't seen it, don't worry. But I did do a review. You can check it out. But I just want to kind of give you guys my thoughts if you haven't watched that or whatever else. But Defenders, basically 5 seasons of these other shows, 2 seasons of Daredevil, 1 of Luke Cage, 1 of Iron Fist, 1 of Jessica Jones, finally coming together, this big, incredible event. But Joe, you got to stop playing with that either Green Lantern gold ring, man. It's too much. It's too powerful, man. It's too good. But yes, finally they come together. They've been teasing it for a long time, and it's 8 episodes, so it's shorter. Thank goodness. It's not 13 episodes, which I really thought was going to be all thriller, no filler. But for the first 2.5, 3 episodes, there's not a lot that happens. Like they are like building up to it. But finally, when they do get together and they group up, it's pretty good. The villains aren't that great. Sigourney Weaver is kind of not. She's fine. She's Sigourney Weaver, but they kind of underutilize her. And yeah, it's not as big of an event as I thought it should have been. And that hurts because I remember thinking watching these other shows like, oh, I'm kind of putting my time in. It's like when you watch the Avengers, you're kind of like, well, maybe you don't really like Thor that much or whatever, but you're going to watch a Thor movie. So that way when you get to that, you can appreciate him and some of the other kind of callbacks they make in Avengers to Thor. You're like, oh, cool. They talk about the Destroyer, and that's the gun that Coulson has. And you're like, ah, cool. But it didn't really feel like that, Joe. It was very much like they wanted to be like a mini version of the Avengers, but it wasn't.
Lackluster version.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, if you're a really big fan of these shows and you really like them, or if you have a passing fancy, I'd say maybe check it out. You can maybe skip the first couple episodes if you really wanted to and get right into it. But if you aren't, I'd say probably skip it. If you skipped like 1 or 2 of the other seasons, if you had to watch one, I'd say watch like Daredevil season 1 and maybe Jessica Jones, and then you could watch this. But I don't think you'd be missing much if you skipped Iron Fist, because that show just like, oh boy. All right. Anyway, Joe.
Sleepy, huh?
Yeah, man. It's just I almost fell asleep watching this too, but I didn't. All right, Joe. It's time to flip the old spoiler switch. I'm gonna
do it.
Oh, no. That was only 8 episodes long, so it wasn't that big of spoilers. Anyway, so yeah, okay, Joe. So here's what they've been building to. This is the big plot thing, Joe. You know what the Hand, the people that Daredevil's been fighting and that Iron Fist has been fighting. You know, they're the Hand. They're all over New York, and they're the Madame Gao, that little Chinese woman, and she's got magic or something, and they're trying to get something, Joe. You know, what could it be? What could be this thing that New York would get destroyed over? What would it be? What if I told you it was dragon bones? Would you believe me?
Sorry, you cut out a little bit. What if it was what?
Dragon bones. What if I said it was dragon bones that they were after the whole time? The bad guys wanted some sweet dragon bones.
I'd be a little, I don't want to say blown away, but surprised.
Well, that's exactly what happens, because the Hand, Joe, they need these dragon bones so they can make this liquid that can make them immortal. Just makes them come back to life. That's what happened to Elektra. They brought her back to life. She died, and they just keep doing this. So they need the Iron Fist to open a door to let them in to get these dragon bones. And then once they get these dragon bones, these are part of the foundation of the entirety of New York City. So once they get rid of those bones, Joe, New York City will crumble, and it will fall, and it will get destroyed all over again. Kind of far-fetched, right?
Yeah.
Especially starting where they did, too, which was very, like, Daredevil was just like, I'm dealing with crime. Like, it was never like, yes, there will be dragon bones. But aside from that, you know, I don't want to kind of be mean too much on it, but there's a big focus on the secondary characters, so you might be kind of confused if you don't watch all the seasons. There's a bunch of people who are like dealing with things and aftermaths of their own storylines, and you might say like, what's going on here? But once they do get together and they do fight each other, a few of them do. So Joe, what if I told you Iron Fist and Luke Cage fought each other? Who do you think would win that fight?
Luke Cage.
He basically holds that fight until he gets hit with the Iron Fist. But yeah, okay, how about Iron Fist and Daredevil?
Iron Fist.
Nope, Daredevil. Like, he's not as good of a martial artist as Daredevil, which makes no sense because Iron Fist should be the best martial artist in the world, and Daredevil can go toe-to-toe with him. And it's just like, Iron Fist is like
the worst. He's blind.
Yeah, well, he's
For crying out loud, the man's blind.
They do make a lot of good jokes about that because there'll be a lot of times where Daredevil in the beginning or Matthew Murdock will just kind of be like, he'll put his hand on a wall and he'll say something and they're like, what are you talking about? He'll be like, there's 5 people on the floor below us or something like that. Like Jessica Jones has a lot of like, what? Like, you're super weird. She kind of like makes a lot of good comments towards him. One of my favorite being he shows up in his full costume for like the big finale and she's like, oh, there it is again. like, and everybody kind of like looks over at him and he's the only one dressed up like a creepy devil weirdo guy, but he looks amazing. She's just always kind of giving him crap. And they've got a fun little dynamic. The two of them have this fun little exchange, Joe, where he kind of goes to be her like a public defender for her at some point because she gets arrested. And he ends up tailing her, and she's like walking through a crowd, and she kind of senses something, and they kind of pan back, and then he's walking, you know, with his stick, just out in just regular daylight. They're just in normal clothes, nothing special. She runs around a corner, and she kind of gets behind him, assuming she kind of probably jumped over the building or whatnot, and then she's tailing him. But then he knows that she's tailing him, so he's like, all right. So he like kind of runs down an alleyway and like puts his cane away and like runs and jumps and scurries away. But it's just kind of fun stuff like that, and they end up having like a little mission together with like a fact-finding mission where they go fight some guys, and that's pretty cool. Seeing Iron Fist and Luke Cage like hang out and talk with each other, and Iron Fist will be like, I came from the magical city of Kunlun and I shoved my fist into the dragon's heart or whatever, and Luke Cage will just be like, what? Like he just constantly is just like, what's wrong? Like, what are you saying? Do you even listen to yourself? Because like he's like, you're so stupid. And it's really good because eventually Luke kind of breaks down. He's like, so you fought a dragon, huh? That's pretty crazy. Because like no one believes him because Danny's just like he seems like a weirdo on top of that, but he's just always like an Iron Fist. And yeah, it's cool when they're together. When the 4 of them are together and they're talking, they're going back and forth. It's so good, Joe. It's so amazing. That's how it should have started. But it's like season or like episode 3 or 4 once they start like grouping up. It's like, come on, like throw me a bone. It's like they spend a lot of time on Misty Knight, who is like basically one of the main police officers now for New York. She was a big deal in Luke Cage's season, and Rosario Dawson, the night nurse, she's a big player in there too. And it's like a lot of them focusing on these kind of secondary characters, and it's just I came here for the Defenders. It's like when I go see Transformers, like, please stop doing this to me. Stop naming things these things and then taking them away. It's like if they went and did the Avengers and they spent like half of it on like a few of the SHIELD agents who are on the consoles, like in the helicarrier, and they're like, oh yeah, it's a, you know, this is a lot of crazy stuff that's going on here. Like they don't do that because it's like it's gonna be stupid. Budget, it's somewhat there. Daredevil unfortunately only uses this cool like cable cane thing like once to like choke a guy out, which is pretty cool. It's a good moment because he's got the whole mask on, the whole outfit, and he's doing that. He's trying to get some information out of one of the main leaders of the Hand, and Iron Fist, he's like, that is so cool. And Luke is standing next to him. He's like, oh, it's kind of weird, but yeah, you're right. It's pretty cool. It's like, it's very like, there's like so many glimmers of hope that are just undercut by there's not a lot of anything, just a lot of just punching. There's a lot of like those hallway fight scenes that we're used to seeing in all of these episodes now, but it's nothing really super duper standout. They don't really team up too much, but I gotta say though, when Jessica Jones and Luke Cage fight people, it might be my absolute favorite because like she'll just take a person and just throw him on the ground, or like, you know, Luke will just like kind of clothesline a dude and it's just like dunk, like the guy's just like a super just like, you know, steel man. It's like it's just fun watching their version. Like these ninjas are trying to like hit him and they're just like, what are you doing? Like, yeah, Luke's just like whatever, dude.
So just send Luke in and have him take care of everything.
Yeah,
right?
They did another scene too. You probably saw in the trailers where he stands in front of like a gun, like they're gonna shoot Iron Fist, and he kind of stands and he just takes him, he's getting shot up in a hoodie, and he's just like, and everyone's like, oh, like, you know, can't use guns on this.
Yeah, but we saw if he takes a point blank shot to the head with a shotgun, it puts him out.
Yeah.
And what happens if he has to jump on a grenade, huh?
He should be able to take that. I think we've seen something similar to that. I don't remember what, but they also show in this one like a pipe burst. And it's like a gas pipe, and it's like shooting fire out of it, and he goes up and he just grabs it and like crushes it and like turns it so it stops producing flames all over the place. I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. Like, I love that type of stuff. Or he like bends some bars around a door so people can't get through, and it's just, I really like that. Like these just little things that you're like, oh yeah, this is a superhero, or he's got superpowers. Like just little stuff like that. One last thing I want to talk about that I liked a lot in the first few episodes, Joe, if you do watch this, try to keep your eyes on this, guys, if you're watching this too. Every time one of these characters is by themselves, like Jessica Jones, she'll be kind of like in a blue, like they'll put like a blue lens on, or always be like blue lighting. Or when they go to Luke Cage, it'll kind of be like a yellow lens. It'll be kind of brighter lighting, kind of denoting each character's color. Or like Danny would be like in a green lighting, and Daredevil in red. And, in the beginning, they're all separate colors, but then when they finally come together, it's like, oh, all the colors are here now. So it's like a really bright and kind of like vibrant look when they finally group up. And that's really cool. It's like, oh, yeah, it's a little stylish detail that I appreciate. I think it's really cool. And it's something that I just kind of noticed while I was watching. I was like, oh, it's pretty neat. So there's some good stuff in this. I don't want people to think I just completely hate it, because I put my time in and watched every one of these episodes of all of this stuff. And it was disappointing, but I think there's a lot of room for growth, and I really, really hope that they would just stop doing all these separate seasons, because these characters are so much better when they're together. Or I just hope that, like, Jessica Jones season 2, I hope that, Daredevil is in it for a few episodes, or Luke Cage is in it for a few episodes, because, Joe, you said you love the romance part of Jessica Jones and Luke Cage, and they kind of hint at that maybe again. There's this moment where they're kind of walking to this next area, and like Iron Fist is, it might be that time that Iron Fist is like knocked out over Luke Cage's shoulder or whatever, but he's talking to Jessica. He's like, it's funny that it takes the whole city to rumble to get us to kind of talk again. And she's like, yeah, you didn't reach out. And he's like, yeah, I know, my bad. Like I could have reached out to you. He's just very straight. He's like, you know what? He's like, you're right. And I love that relationship. I think it's better than his relationship with the night nurse. I'd rather have him be with her, because that's much more fascinating. You got like a super strong like woman who could jump really high, and this like like a steel dude. It's like, oh, it's cool, and the fights they have. But yeah, the interchanges are the best things in the show. You could probably cut this thing down to 4 episodes. Be pure good stuff. Joe, do you have any questions about the Defenders before we move on to the next segment of the show? Do you have anything you want to know? Any pressing questions?
I don't. It sounds like it's a worthwhile watch if you're bored, but otherwise it's mediocre.
Sure. One other thing I want to say about this show, and about all of them, about every one of these seasons, the title intro things that they do, Joe, you know what I'm talking about. Like, for Daredevil, it's like they kind of like drip a bunch of stuff like over the city, and then it like makes the Daredevil like look with the horns, and then it'll say like Daredevil or whatever. They always are so good, and this one's really cool. They show like the city of New York from like an aerial view, and then they kind of like color out the outlines of each of the characters in that. It just looks really. It's just, whoever's doing those intros, I'm like, it's good. I just really appreciate it. It's like I watch it like every time. It's pretty good. Pretty good. So whoever's doing that, good job. That's what the budget should be. Yeah, but that's all I gotta say about Defenders for right now. It's good, not great. It's fine. Yes. But if you have any questions, or you guys have any feedback on the show, we're gonna get into that in community feedback. Some people have some things to say about it. But yeah, let's move on to the next segment of the show, and that is just giving a nice salute to our commander, Jonathan Larson. Thank you so much, our $100 patron. We salute you, don't we, Joe?
Then you're a good man.
Yes, thank you so much. And as Jonathan likes to say, your fate concerns me. Their fate concerns me. Yours does not. There we go. I did it. I said the words. Yay. But now, Joe, we're moving into that segment of the show that we like to call Timekillers. That's right, it's time for Timekillers. I thought for sure you were going to go high with it. I thought you were going to be like, Timekillers. Games we've been watching, or games we've been playing, movies we've been watching, TV shows we've been viewing. Obviously, I was talking about Defenders. One other thing I'll mention quick before Joe goes. I'm playing this game called Divinity Original Sin. Thank you so much, Simon, for getting me that game. It is incredible. It's basically like playing Dungeons & Dragons, but in a video game. You can basically do whatever you want, and there's a lot of interesting kind of mechanics as far as like, yeah, if there's water on the ground and I cast like an electrical spell, it'll stun everybody in that puddle, like stuff like that. You got to be very cognizant of where you are in a fight, and it's very cool, and I love it a lot. And I've been playing hours upon hours of it. So Yeah, Joe, what have you been up to, man? What have you been playing? What have you been doing besides For Honor? What else have you been getting your hands into?
For Honor and Game of Thrones, baby.
The classic goat.
Yeah, I got. I'm not going to spoil anything for anybody because I know that there are a lot of people that love Game of Thrones, but
myself included.
You will love it. The last episode I watched on Sunday, it'd be season 7, episode 6. Really sweating. I actually stood up at one point, started pacing the floor.
Oh my gosh!
And had to sit in front of a fan. That's how intense it got. I was losing my cool, man. And I teared up for a split second. I don't think I've ever had a show get that kind of reaction out of me ever.
That's cool.
In fact, this season and just, I liked it. I watched a lot of it last fall and caught all the way up and waited for season 7 to come out. And, after getting into season 7, I realized, man, I really love this show. And I almost want to go back and watch it all through again after season 7's done. I think the season 7 finale is next week. And then I think we have to wait till 2018 for the next season, which is going to be all like full-length movie episodes. They're going to be like 2 hours long.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, which will be cool because you always hate when it ends. It's like they end on a cliffhanger and you're just like, no. And they're like 50 minutes long or whatever. But it inspired me to like learn more about it, and I wanted to get more details. So I'm actually, I don't have a lot of time to actually hold a book and read. So
Sure.
What I did is I went on Audible, and I got the app and all that, and I got the first 2 books, and I'm already probably a third of the way through the first book, and it's interesting. You catch a lot of detail, and excuse me. And you just pick up on certain things or flesh out things that you didn't quite understand in the show.
Yeah.
But it also follows along with the first, 5 seasons, I think. I think season 6 and 7 kind of take their own liberties because it's beyond the books. But it really does follow along, and what it does is it really helps you to visualize it, which is cool as well. But you can also take a little bit of creative liberty on your own to kind of imagine it, and it's great. I'm liking it. So just in my spare time, I'm listening to the audiobooks and rolling through those, and I'm enjoying it a lot. It's good. It's kind of filled that void that Lord of the Rings left, if you know what I mean. So,
Joe, Lord of the Rings never left a void because it's never ever left my heart or my mind. It is always with me. If I hear that Howard Shore score just a little bit, I start to tear up. I swear to goodness, if I get to listen to that Shire theme while being in the actual Shire one day, I will probably break down and cry right there. I'm sure many others have. But speaking of books, Joe, I forgot to mention this at the beginning of Timekillers here. I got 2 books here that were a gift. This is a visual guide to Ghost Rider throughout the years. Pretty cool. And this cool X-Men versus like the Fantastic Four, like this cool like graphic novel. I don't know. It seems pretty neat. In the back here, you could see Wolverine like chopping up the Thing, which I don't know. That seems really cool to me. So this is just some actual like reading material. That's not super long, but that's I don't know. This Ghost Rider, for instance. Like here you go. Check that out. Pretty rad, huh? Yeah, I love Ghost Rider. Cool. He's so cool. Joe, before we finally get into the last segment of the show, this is episode 75, and that means that every 25 episodes we do a special little thing we like to call the quarter yell, where we like to yell out opinions, just a few, just to, kind of unburden ourselves of these types of things. So, Joe, I wrote down a few. I know you've got a few in mind. Would you like me to go first here?
I think I would.
All right. That sounds good. Joe, as always, I'm going to give you 2 hold-its. And a hold-it, if you don't know what a hold-it is, everybody, is basically if someone says an opinion, you can tell them to hold it and explain. So let me go first. Joe, Voldemort is not a great villain at all. There we go. I'm sure I didn't make anybody angry with that. Right. All right, now it's your turn, unless you want me to hold it and explain.
You want me to tell you to hold
No,
it?
remember, you get 2 of them. So if I say something you don't like and you want me to explain further, then you can use a hold it. But I have like 3 or 4 or 5 of these. So if you use your hold ups too soon, I can just say these opinions without being stopped like a madman.
Okay. The Spider-Man Homecoming.
Yep.
The spider suit is the best part of the whole movie.
All right. I want to say something. I'm not going to use it. This is kind of echoing what I said the last time we did this, Joe. Just for people who haven't seen episode 50, back in the day I said Man of Steel is by far the best film the DCU has put out yet. So now Wonder Woman is by far the best film the DCU has put out yet. So I like to look back at these. I was like, gotta change that. Again, an opinion, but a popular one. Maybe. Who knows?
Okay. All right. Aquaman, from an aesthetic standpoint in the DCEU, is my favorite character by far. From an aesthetic standpoint, meaning the design.
Yeah, all right. I'm not going to burn a hold it on that. The next one I've got, these are yells too. I hope it's not too loud. Anyway, the Fantastic Four movies aren't that bad, except for the 2015 one. The 2015 one or whatever, that one's horrible. But the other ones aren't that bad. The ones with Chris Evans, those aren't that bad. There you go.
Oh, man.
We're both saving our hold-its. I guess if you guys are keeping track at home, we each have 2 still, and we have not, for Joe's, I don't want to burn it on Aquaman being aesthetically pleasing.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to swing this really good.
Uh-oh.
The best movie snack and beverage is an ice-cold Mountain Dew and a box of Raisinets.
Hold it. Oh my god. Chocolate Raisinets with freaking Mountain Dew. What are you, some sort of villain? No. All right, Joe, please explain. What is this combination and why do you love it so much?
Well, it's not necessarily the combination. It's just 2 things I like standalone a lot.
Oh,
I don't drink a lot of Mountain Dew, and I don't drink a lot of, I shouldn't say that, a lot of Canada Dry ginger ale.
We just lost our funding, Joe. They're gonna cut the cord.
Cold,
pull the plug.
Crisp, refreshing, Canada Dry.
Does it say that somewhere on the can? Or are you just making that up?
I'm just making that up. It's made from real ginger, man. 100% natural flavors. Anywho,
it's made from real gingers. I'm sorry.
Oh God, Drew, if you're listening, I'm sorry. Anywho, a nice citrus sugary soda is a treat, is great. And a Mountain Dew, nice medium size, nothing too much, not too little. Nice medium fountain drink, Mountain Dew. Good, refreshing, little splash of citrus. Wash the chocolate down after you've had a nice bite of a chocolate Raisinette. Oh, I love Raisinets. I could eat a whole bag in one sitting, no problem. No problem. That's my favorite movie-going snack and beverage.
Question, Joe, do you ever put Raisinets in your popcorn? Because I know some people like to put M&Ms in their popcorn. Do you ever do that?
Weird. I rarely ever get popcorn at the movies. To be honest, I rarely ever get a snack. I normally go in with just a drink.
Yeah, you love your drink. I know, because we've gone to the theaters.
I go to the movies for an experience, and I'm going to be sitting there the whole time. I want to relax. I want it to be a relaxing, enjoyable experience, especially in the big AMC theaters with the red leather recliners. Oh, yeah. I'm going to have my drink, and I'm going to relax and sit back and chill.
Yeah,
So,
for me, I haven't gotten things just because it's usually really expensive, and I like to just have I'm just purely focused on the film because it's usually so I'm gonna like write a review like in like half hour after I get home, so I'm just like I just zero in, just nothing else. People are just like walking by, they're like, what's wrong with that guy? And I'm like, no. All right, Joe. Thank you for explaining that.
You know, here to expand on it a bit more, when Jimmy and when I used to live in the Twin Cities temporarily for work, him and I would get together once in a while in the evenings, and you know, we'd catch a bite or something, and then head to the movie theater. I'd be like, Jimmy, are you getting something to drink? Nah, probably not. I'm buying you a drink. And I get him a drink.
You totally would.
And so we go in, and it like, for instance, one time, just for the heck of it, I think we saw Fast 7. I think Fast and Furious 7.
See that one there? I don't remember if we saw that. Was it one of them? It could have been.
It was one of them, and we're sitting there, and anytime he said family or
yeah.
or something like that defied the laws of physics happened, we would take a drink, and by halfway through the movie, we were empty on our sodas, and they were like the big medium ones, you know.
It was really good. That added another layer. That was really fun.
The movies, I want it to be a relaxing, chill experience. I want to have my soda to just relax, you know.
Yeah.
If I had a choice, I'd put a little something in there.
It's a little flask. He's just like stirring it around. All right, that was I feel like I used my hold it properly there. It feels really good. All right, Joe. The Incredibles is the best Pixar film ever made.
Hold it.
All right, there. I was like, please. I was like, we only have 2 left here that I've got, so you can use them. You don't have to. All right, I'll just tell you why. The Incredibles is the best. Incredibles does the one thing that Pixar movies doesn't do what Pixar movies try to do all the time. Incredibles isn't aiming to make you cry. Like I've said this before in the past. Everybody loves Pixar, but it's because Pixar made you feel emotion, and I get that. That's a good thing. But basically,
everybody loves a cry now and again, man.
Yeah, but they love a cry, but that segues into like, oh, super happy, and you walk out of the theater, you're really happy or whatever. But the thing is, like Toy Story 3, they were all about to die in a furnace after like a big like Holocaust analogy, and then everyone's like, oh, but it's like happy endings, it's so sad, blah blah blah, my childhood. Incredibles doesn't try to do that. Incredibles basically makes like one of the best Fantastic Four films of all time. It's just like it's a family that happens to have superpowers, and they're dealing with being in hiding. They've been dealing with kind of like a bad public perception and trying to like the patriarch trying to go after his glory days, the wife thinking that he's cheating on her, like all these fun things. And it's directed so well by the one and only Brad Bird. And I'm just really excited for that sequel. I don't need them to make like 3, 4, 5 of these. Like, you know, if I just get another one, I'll be really happy. And it's just a fun time. Music's great. Action's great. All the characters are good. The villain makes a lot of sense. It's really cool. It's got a cool stylish vibe to it, like a 1960s edge that I really like as well. It's just a freaking great movie, man. And it holds up, and it makes people look good in a Pixar film, which rarely happens because usually they look like creepy, terrifying monsters. So there you go. That's why Incredibles is the best Pixar film ever made. Take that, people who love Finding Nemo. It's not that good. That's 2 opinions right there. I'm sorry. 2 for the price of 1. That's what you get around here. Joe, do you have one last opinion for us, or 2 more maybe?
The first standalone Iron Man movie was the best standalone Iron Man movie of the 3.
I just can't even fight you on that one, man. It's so simple.
Really? Simple? I contemplated for a second. Was it Iron Man 2 or Iron Man 1? I don't know.
My last one here, Joe. The Force Awakens is kind of lackluster and feels too much like a Star Trek film. There. Nothing, you know. Okay. We don't have to use the hold it's, you know, you don't have to.
I feel like you got a better one in you.
No, I feel like I've made people angry with the Voldemort and Pixar stuff. I think that's probably hitting the same crowd. Joe, do you have any final opinions that you want to just express just freely? Just in general, just about the world. Uh-oh.
The only good part about Transformer movies is the cars.
Not the Transformers themselves? You like the... He's like, just give me that freaking Lamborghini. All right, that's all I need. All right.
The cars.
Well, everyone,
I got more. I got more in the bag. You want to keep it going?
If you want to, man, it is the core. If you want to just expound, man, I don't want to hold you back. If you got some good ones, I still have another hold it in me, so I think we should go until you burn that hold it.
I got another hold it too. You got any more?
On the spot, huh? Then I like start looking around my room at stuff. I'm like, yeah, here's one. I should probably write it down somewhere though too. I don't think I've said this one. Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom is actually not that great of a film. It really isn't.
Wow. Okay.
You're not gonna use the.
All right. Hold it.
Thank God, because people are gonna kill me. All right. Indiana Jones, the Temple of Doom. Everybody loves. They're like, oh man, there's like all these iconic things in it, and he's like in a like in a dungeon or whatever, like a cave, whatever. And it has some good moments. The Kali Ma thing, yeah, whatever.
Kali Ma.
The sidekick or the romantic interest constantly screams the entire film. The movie, Joe, this film is set a year before Raiders of the Lost Ark, and there's a moment where Indy goes up against two sword-wielding guys, and they're doing that thing that they did in the first movie where the guy pulls a sword out and he kind of flips it around and Indy just shoots him. Indy goes for his gun in this one, and he doesn't get the chance to shoot the swordsman, and he's like, oh, like it's something he does all the time. The weird thing is, chronologically, that doesn't make any sense unless Indy is going around everywhere picking fights with swordsmen and shooting them immediately. So it's like there's like continuity issues like that. Really bothers me. I don't like the whole like gross out factor this movie's trying to go for. It's just weird. I don't really like it. Raiders of the Lost Ark is just so much better, and so is The Last Crusade. Truly, those ones are way better. 2 isn't as bad as 4, but 2 just as man. It's not that great, and I just watched them all recently, so I feel like I've got firm setting or firm footing on that one. But yeah, There you go, Joe. I feel like I should write that down so I don't forget to talk about that later. Anyway, Joe, you said you got some more in you. What's another opinion you got? Do you wanna? Oh.
Despite the inaccuracies to the true lore and comic universe, I think DCEU's second best casting yet, Momoa as Aquaman. This harkens back to my first quarter yell. Or it might have been the second one.
I'm going to say hold it, Joe, because you've got no proof of that. Maybe the look, but we don't know how his acting chops are. We don't know. He hasn't spoken one thing instead of the trailers just like, yeah. He's like kind of
first of all,
jumping about.
No, I'm all right. So first of all, I like Momoa's acting and the way he portrays characters. He tends to play a similar character in most of his roles.
Sure.
Bit of differentiation, but like Frontier, I liked him in Game of Thrones. Frontier is actually really good. I haven't watched it in a while, but I was halfway through that first season, and I was enjoying it. It's kind of cool. And then also, I like the style change-up. It's not the typical, like we saw in Smallville, they had Alan Ritchson play Aquaman because he kind of looked the part. He was buff, fit, and he had the blonde hair, right? It was kind of the perfect deal. Wear orange and green, it's a done deal. Well, I like how they've kind of spun it into a more owned aesthetic and maybe a little more gruff, but still has that Aquaman flair and has that bit of a surfer bro kind of flair to him. So I'm interested to see where it goes. I don't know, but purely speaking off of aesthetics and the look, I think they really created a compelling, visually grabbing character here through casting Momoa, and I'm interested to see where it goes. It sounds like I'm a fanboy, but I don't know. It just, when I look at the lineup, the one that draws my attention is him, and he just looks badass. He looks cool. So I'm interested to see where they take it, and I'm kind of happy they didn't go for the old cheesy green and orange garb. Because I know it's true to the whole history of the character, but we want something a little more edgy, a little more flashy, something that's going to get us like, whoa, look at that, instead of just, some orange shirt and green pants with fins on the hips.
What if I told you Joss Whedon actually added those colors back in? I'm just kidding. He totally didn't. That'd be crazy. That'd be crazy.
I didn't think he would. That would be a lot of editing to do.
Yeah, geez. And I know editing. Like, editing this is hard enough, but freaking putting that on there, just like they just put in paint. What I'm, most interested in, Joe, is the bat-shaped smoke outline that will be in the lineup for the Justice League. Like, it's like, woo! Like, it's just like, you're like,
Wait, wasn't Batman supposed to be in this?
They'll be like, Bat who? We don't know a Batman. And they're like, isn't he the guy who put the team together? Be like, we've never, Wonder Woman's been the one who put us together. And they're like, all right. Gal Gadot, they just have her locked until she's like 85. They're like, you're not going anywhere.
That would be smart.
They just change it into the Wonder Woman universe, and they're just like, we're actually just making Wonder Woman movies. Apparently people really like that. We're just going to go with that. Man, that would be crazy. I wouldn't be bad, though. All right. Did you have any other things you want to yell out, Joe, or did you want to move on to the next segment of the show? It sounded like you had a few more.
No, I think we're good. I could have came up with some more, but I'll save them for the next one.
Yeah, 25 more episodes, which, Joe, that'll be episode 100, so craziness.
Yeah, we're getting there.
Yeah, buddy. So it's my favorite segment of the show that's coming up right now, community feedback and questions. And we got some community feedback about the Defenders, which... it's been mixed, Joe, and by mixed I mean mostly bad. Our good friend Corey. Huh?
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say our good friend Corey. He said this. This show is such a bummer. Good review, bad show. Makes me nervous for the future of these shows. Let's hope Punisher brings the ruckus. Let's hope that he does, because yeah.
Otherwise, they're boring. I'm getting the impression that they're boring.
Yeah, I just think that that's just kind of what it sounds like people aren't. And that's what I was getting other times too. People were kind of frustrated with it, and that they said it was kind of slow to start, and they just didn't know where to start if they hadn't watched all of them. I understand. I get it. All right. But Joe, now it's time to move into our questions. So from one of our great, a guy who asks questions all the time, we appreciate it, Nightwar 29. He says, how do you decide what movies, games, TV shows you and Joe are going to review and or play? What are the criteria? Joe, you want to answer this one?
Well, I think we kind of seem to tackle particular genres. For one, we tackle a lot of superhero type stuff, Marvel, DC, even others. I mean, we talk about Spawn, anything of that nature. We also, if it's game related, if it's cinematic related, it kind of opens the book to, I mean, it's a Pandora's box, if you will. I mean, almost everything we're exposed to in the media nowadays is related to that in some way, some form, somehow. I think we try and focus on the more popular items, the things that people are more exposed to, so that there's some familiarity and people can identify with it. Sure. But we'll also, depending on if we have a specific interest, we'll bring up some more obscure items and maybe try and enlighten yourselves on things that you should check out, introduce you to something new. So, our options are endless, but we hone in on things that we feel appropriate, I guess. We're never signatory to one certain thing or another. So,
sure. That's much better than I would have put it. So very well done. Very well done, Joe.
Thanks. Yeah. Good ambassador for the Critical Reviews franchise.
Well, thank goodness. Oh man. Yeah, that's a really good. I don't really think I need to add too much to that at all. It's just honestly, it's just what we love, our passions, and that just happens for me to be like Marvel and Star Wars and things like that. But like Darksiders and Gears of War, Assassin's Creed, things that you see behind me, it's things you can't see on my walls, but just the things that I love so much. And that's the things I'm drawn to, things that are just very, especially visually stimulating. I think I look at things like that new Castlevania franchise that's on Netflix, and I'm not a Castlevania fan, but it looked really cool, and I love anime, and I was like, oh, I'll check it out, and I'll tell people what I think about it. So yeah, especially coming up on Halloween, more of that kind of interesting, spooky kind of stuff where it's like Joe could get more into the horror, but I'm more of just like it's kind of spooky but not really scary. Like I'm like that's where I'm like in the kiddie pool of horror stuff. I'm happy just like hanging out there. It's like
dip a toe in and then go. It's cold and run away.
Yep, definitely. But I did see Alien Covenant for you, Joe, by myself in the theater, and I could swear that somebody was running across the ground. Like in that scene where they're out in the tall grass, like those little white things running around. I was like, "What's that?"
I thought I heard something.
Yeah,
Pick your feet off the floor.
I would have loved to just take like a empty like a big white like pop cup and just like roll it down the aisle and see how many people are just like yeah,
or like oh man, if you really planned it out, you get like a little rubber action figure of one and you put it on an RC car. Yeah, you're running around down the aisles.
That'd really cool.
Just really freak people out.
That'd be very good.
Hey, I'm part of the community. I got one for you, Jimmy.
Uh-oh.
I brought up in the quarter yell maybe that wasn't as much of an opinion, but no, it was because I said the best movie going beverage and snack, Raisinets and a Mountain Dew.
Yeah.
Tell me what yours is. If money wasn't an option, what is your go-to?
If money wasn't an option,
beverage and snack. What's it gonna be?
Because I'm like I go like straight like Bond villain where I'm like having like a filet mignon and I'm just like
in a movie theater.
Yeah. No, in a movie theater, like if we want to go snack, let's see. Actually, I do like popcorn a lot. This has been a thing that I've had to deal with in the past because my family loves popcorn. My mom especially, she used to like to get like a big bag or a bucket, and she would basically, she would take care of that before the movie even started. So I would be the guy who went and got the popcorn. So I would go to a lot of movies that I didn't really want to see, but I would see because I'd get free snacks like that. I also love ices. I basically just want to fill up a cup, like a tall cup with the syrup. I don't necessarily need the ice, which would probably kill me. But it'd be a fun trip. It would be like, yeah, I'd be dying for sure. But yeah, maybe popcorn and like an icy. I really like the Coke, like a Coca-Cola ices. But they used to do Mountain Dew like slushies or ices back in the day, and oh boy,
that would be legit, Jimmy. But yeah, the Coke ices, are the Coke ices good?
Yeah, they're really good. I mean, just like the syrup of Coke put into ice. It's very delicious. The problem is you got to pace yourself because you get halfway through the film, you just got like a big chunk of ice sitting there, which just it kind of hurts you. I should almost eat it with a spoon, but yeah, man. I wish you could get refills. And here's the thing, Joe, side note, this is going to be a weird thing, but they allow you to get your ices at this place, all right? The one I go to, they allow you to get your ices at this place, but there aren't free refills on the ices. But they allow you to get your ices, and they'll be like, excuse me, sir, like, you're not supposed to do that, but it's okay that you do. It's like, well, then don't put your icy machines where I have access to them. And then the counter argument would be like, well, Jimmy, it's right next to the Coca-Cola dispensing machines, those ones where you get to like pick the Coke and be like, oh, I want orange Coke. It's right next to there. It's probably like refrigeration units that are all plugged in and, plumbing and all that. It's like, but then don't let me do that either. Like, don't let me have the ability to get my own icy. Because honestly, what I want to do when people say that is stick my face underneath the spout or the spigot and then just see how much I can take before they stop me. To be like, sorry. Anyway, yeah, icy and probably popcorn. Yeah. Moving on, Joe. Moving on. Good question. I got this recently, and I forgot. I wanted to mention this too. Starbucks Scully, aka Machine and Soul. Quick review on the Defenders. He said, "Love the Defenders review. I pretty much hated some things with the actual show." He said, "I hadn't noticed the lighting effects you mentioned, subtle but effective. I just felt that they were all about getting the band together, but then had no songs to play." Which I thought was a really that's a quote. That's a back of the box quote. I thought that was really good. Yeah, it's pretty interesting. Fragadin also said he admits he stopped towards the end of Jessica Jones and never gave Luke Cage or Iron Fist a viewing at all, but he was going to start powering through them. So Fragadin, once you start watching those, please, I'd love to hear what you're gonna say about that. I'm interested. Oh, Joe, this is one other thing from Night Warrior 29 who asked that question a little bit ago. He said that he has an opinion, and he said that he thinks Call of Duty will be an easy contender for Game of the Year for 2017. I thought that was really fascinating. I'm sorry I didn't read that earlier, but I'd be, you never know, World War II, Call of Duty World War II, maybe that'll be kind of it'll do really well, I think, financially, but at the same time, I don't critically, I'm sure it'll get like 8s, like 7s and 8s. They'll be like, well, it's nothing really new and all that. So
I'm interested in Call of Duty World War II.
I know you are. I know. We'll try to get you a code.
That comes out, what, in November here?
Yeah, I think so. That's usually when they drop them, and then they just make a ton of money. So, yep.
Yeah, I'm interested. Yeah.
Final question from Anna, #Critical Podcast. What's your favorite and least favorite weather? If an apocalyptic weather occurred, what kind would it be? Joe, what's your favorite kind of weather, man?
Snow.
You just like a light snow?
A heavy snow. I want feet upon feet upon feet, and I want to bust out the old skis. And
I was going to say, you have to pick weather that you can't go out in, Joe. You have to just look at it through a window.
Okay, I like that too. Snow.
Okay. All right.
Okay, but all right, I'm sorry to say, if I'm not out in it, I love a good day-long soaker. A little bit of thunder rumble, not necessarily lightning or anything, but thunder rumble here and there, and an all day long. Saturday, all day. I just want to sit, play games, and stare out the patio window and enjoy it.
Yeah, man.
Window ever so slightly so I can listen to it.
Sunny days just make me feel guilty, basically. Like at this point in my life, when I see like a sunny day, or I remember seeing him as a kid, I'd be like, I could be out there. But now when I'm older, I'm like, oh, thank God it's rainy, so I could do exactly what you're saying, Joe. It's like I don't feel bad about spending time.
That's
like,
true.
You just kind of like you get cozy. The lighting's different. It's kind of a more intimate feel to the day. I do love a rainy day, Joe. So I probably agree with you there. But apocalyptic weather, fire tornadoes everywhere, flaming pillars, cyclones.
Where'd you come up with fire tornadoes?
I've always seen them in like anime. I've always like seen that stuff, or they actually had it in that one like storm movie that the guy Richard Armitage from Hobbit was in. It was like a big storm movie. They do storm movies, but yeah, fire tornado. That's what it would be. I wouldn't want to be in it, but that would be. That
used to be a joke that me and my buddy in college had. And by buddy in college, I don't mean you. You were one of my best buds in college.
I want to be the best.
We always made that joke, like we would be awkward as all get out, and on the bus ride down to the campus, the little tram, we'd be like, yes, did you hear about the fire tornadoes, Australia? Yeah, I heard that they were jumping oceans. I heard they made landfall down in Atlanta, Georgia, and they're really tearing things up. Yeah, I heard about that. I heard a couple of buildings that already collapsed and started on fire. Yeah, they're pretty legit, man. Everybody's just staring at us. It was always funny. I named my fantasy football team for the past 3 years Australian Fire Tornadoes. I did.
AFT, FTW, baby.
Yep.
Yeah, that's Yeah. Well, is there an apocalyptic weather that you can think of, Joe, that would be kind of interesting? Not that you want to be in. I don't want to be in a fire tornado. I'm saying I'd see it in the distance.
So we're talking now. We want to talk apocalyptic weather.
Yeah, fire tornado.
I don't desire any of them, but
make one up.
Acid rain.
That is the thing that already exists. You got to pick something. Like straight up, would it be like acid where it hits you and like just cuts through your arm and you're like,
just like think of this: you just cut the alien on his arm, and when he bleeds, it melts through, and it just never stops. It just keeps melting. That kind of acid rain.
There is a really cool version of that. I think it was in Gears of War 2, Joe, and it was called Razor Hail. And basically, what it was is just like it was precipitation that was just like shards of glass and stuff, and it would fall from the sky, and it would just like cut you up. You couldn't be out in it for more than a few seconds. It would just rip you in half. And I always thought that was a really interesting idea for weather pattern. Just a bunch of glass basically falling from the sky. Like, we gotta get inside. So yeah, pretty intense. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Good idea. Good job, Epic. All right, Joe. That about does it for this week. We did it. We've done 75 episodes. Isn't it phenomenal? It's been great. If you guys have a
75, that's something.
Mm-hmm. Yep, you're telling me. I always say that. I don't know why. I just do.
You're telling me.
If you have a
with
question,
the wind at your back.
you have a question for the podcast, all you have to do is tweet the hashtag Critical Podcast to either of us. You can tweet at our official Twitter account, which is at @GoCritical, or you can tweet at my personal account, which is at JimmyGood013. Or if you want to tweet at Joe, you can tweet at
Lever_627. That's Lever, just like a beaver, only with an L.
Yes, very good. And please, guys, if you have a topic, a question, a game, or anything like that, ever when you're just like hanging out, you just think of it, please just tweet it at us anytime. Just the hashtag just lets us know that's what it's for, as opposed to just you telling us something or just asking us something. Like, I'll answer that right now. I want to send a few. Before we get to that, I want to say that we're streaming. We're streaming on Twitch. As you can see here, I've got Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time over here. We've made some more progress. It's been fun. We've been streaming on Sunday afternoon, so if you have a chance, drop in by the Twitch. You can hang out with us there. I want to thank This Is Dale for amazing intro, outro music, and I do want to thank the one and only Yoren Evers, the greatest artist that I know. If you're interested in getting any work done, he does commissions, and if you tell him that Jimmy and Joe sent you, I'm sure he'd give you quite the bargain. But if you're thinking, hey, I want some of that artwork, and I also want to support these guys at the same time, then all you have to do is check out patreon.com/criticalreviews, and at the various tiers, you can get some art, some cool rewards, and you can support us all at the same time to get better lights, better cameras, better mics, all this stuff that we're trying to get to kind of up the production value of the show. So if you want to see this stuff grow and get bigger and better, that's the best way to support us. But sharing us with a friend is also really good. So I implore you guys, if you're not supporting us through Patreon, share us with a friend. We really appreciate it. Joe, here's to 75 more at the very least. I'm looking forward to it. But
yeah, cheers, pal.
Cheers. Yeah. Next week, I'm not sure what we're going to talk about. We might do another kind of top 3 list. Those have been kind of fun because we're kind of a little light on news, depending how it goes. But we might pick a franchise. So if you guys have any franchises or anything like that, we'd love to hear. Like if you want us to talk about, just like we said, like the Spider-Man franchise or Indiana Jones franchise or something, please, we'd love to do that. But Joe, should we think of a community feedback question for next week? What should we ask our Legionnaires? What do we want to know from them?
I want to know if any of them like Game of Thrones. Is just a general question. Okay. And what they think of it. Okay. My other question. Because it was fun. I think it's cool. I want to know what their favorite movie-going beverage and snack is.
Dude, that's a good one. That's really good.
I just think it's fun. I like to know that kind of thing, and maybe I'll be introduced to something I need to try out next time.
Yeah, dude, I love the favorites, man, because like some people that get caught off guard, like if I'm like, what's your favorite thing to eat? Some people feel like they're gonna betray like their true favorite food if they just like out loud say like, oh, pizza. And they're like, no, it's cheeseburgers. Like it's like
Brussels sprouts.
Exactly. So think about it. Tell us what your favorite snack and beverage combo is at the theaters, or if you don't go to the movie theaters a lot, what do you like to make at home? What do you like to order? Is any do you like to get some fast food and watch something? Do you like to make something? What is it?
Yeah, dude. I'll tell you what it is right now. If I'm at home, it's Panda Express.
Do you get the orange chicken and the fried rice?
Yeah, typically. Every once in a while I mix up with some chow mein, but I'll normally get orange chicken and the black pepper chicken.
That is the litmus test, or what I like to call the Asian cheeseburger for me, because it's always like if I go to a new place, I'm always trying like a cheeseburger if it's American. If I'm going to a Chinese or like Asian style food place, American Asian, I always get the orange chicken and the fried rice, and that's how I judge it. I'm like, we'll see how this works, and then maybe we'll try something different next time,
I mean, they can't screw this up. If they screw this up, I'll never try anything else. So.
Never try anything ever again. I'd probably just stop right there. But yes, but thank you guys. Thank you for everybody who's watching for the very first time. We really appreciate it. Again, we're Jimmy and Joe. And if you are joining us for the 75th time, like a few of you are, thank you so much. You guys are the best. You're lovely. You're wonderful. Love and hugs to all of you. And just remember to adapt and overcome. And we'll see you next time.